Welcome everyone, these are grammar lessons for year 3 and 4 children, and this is week 7 lesson 4. So having done some skills work over the past couple of days, it's now time to really think about planning and writing our own diary entry. So that's your learning objective for today, to plan a diary entry, and by the end of this lesson you will hopefully be able to recall what type of text a diary is. You will also know the features of a diary, and you will even be able to use a planning sheet to organise your ideas. So yesterday I asked you for your task to make a list of at least 5 things, 5 features that made a diary different to any other kind of text. I want you to make sure you've got that list in front of you now, and we're going to go through some features together. And while we do that, you can check to see if the features I talk about are on your list. So here we are, how to write a diary. Now there's lots of information here and we're going to go through it together. So the first thing that we were going to think about as a feature is the use of colloquial language or informal, chatty language. The diary that you're writing really is only going to be read by you. Usually diaries are private, and so you don't need to worry about using formal language. You can use chatty, informal language as though you were having a chat with yourself. Often diaries follow a diary style. They will almost always have a date, so each entry has a date, and often people use Dear Diary to start their entry for that day, a little bit like a letter to yourself. This is a non-negotiable. Diaries are always written in the first person using first person pronouns, in particular I and we, because it's all about your life and your experiences and your feelings. Your diary will probably include detailed descriptions. It says here, remember to use more than one sense to make your description more imaginable, and similes and metaphors can also be effective. The description in your diary is going to be the best kind of description because these are all things that you've experienced and possibly no one else has experienced, and so you're going to be able to describe them in more detail than anyone else. Another non-negotiable. Diaries are always written in the past tense because they are about what has already happened. Now, of course, you might include present tense if you are writing about how you feel now, or maybe even future tense if you're writing about something you hope could happen or you know is going to happen in the future. But there is definitely going to be a large amount of past tense writing in your diary. Diaries will often include self-reflection. We've hinted at this before. Your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, your hopes will all be included in your diary entry. And finally, diaries will be in chronological order, time order, using those time conjunctions we looked at on Monday. Helps us to pin the events you're describing into time. That's really important. I hope you got some of those things on your list. You may not have got them all, but that doesn't matter. This list here is going to be very important as we move on to writing our diaries, our own diary entries. And we're going to have a look at one of the texts that we looked at yesterday now and see if we can find these features in that text. So here is the diary entry, one of the diary entries we read yesterday, and I just want to have a look now to see if we can find some of those features. So at the top there we've got the date, and this person has chosen to start their diary with Dear Diary, so they're written in the style of a diary. You can see that right from the beginning. Here we have got some detailed description. This is just one example of detailed description. There are others. A delicious breakfast of pancakes with syrup was waiting for me on the table, and I gobbled it down as quick as a flash. Unless I lived in your house, I wouldn't know about that breakfast unless you told me. We've got some first person pronouns down at the bottom here. In fact, they're all the way through, but I've just chosen a few to show you. I, we and my. There are lots of those all the way through the writing because of course this person is writing about their own day. And finally, in yellow here, we've got some time conjunctions. As soon as and when on this page. Really important to help keep our diary entry in chronological order. Moving on to look at the second page, we've got some more of those time conjunctions: before, until, after, 3 of them there in yellow. Again, they help to keep our diary entry in chronological order. We've got lots of past tense. We know that verbs in the past tense often end with ed. There's an example there, cheered. There are lots more examples throughout. That's just one of them to show that these events have already happened. At the end there, we've got some thoughts and feelings and some hopes. Again, these crop up in other places in this diary extract. There's just one example there. I'm sitting on my bed writing this, remembering all the fun things that happened today. I hope tomorrow is just as good. And finally, there's lots of examples of chatty and informal language throughout. This feels like this person is just writing their own diary for only their eyes to see. So all of those features on that list are evident in this diary extract, and hopefully will be evident in your diary extract too. I want you, for your task today, to use this sheet to plan your own diary entry. You don't have to write on the sheet, but it might be worth having a look at it because there are some questions to prompt you in thinking about what you could include. You don't have to write the whole diary entry today. We'll do that tomorrow. This is just a chance for you to have a think about some ideas that you could include ready for tomorrow's lesson. Good luck, and I will see you then.